would probably recommend first and foremost just figuring out where you want to direct your sex drive instead of trying to start a new behavior. Because if you're just trying to stop a behavior, then of course that's not enjoyable. Like nobody wants to do that. But if you replace your metaphorical diet with something that is healthy and good, like food that's delicious and good for you, it's not that hard to find. You can find replacements for whatever kick or benefit porn masturbation is getting you and replace it with something that is good for you, but also you enjoy. That's a secret weapon right there.
Welcome back to Love, Life, and Legacy, the podcast dedicated to helping you navigate these hypersexualized times. And in today's episode, you have to understand the importance of enjoyment. Enjoying your life, enjoying the difficult stuff, enjoying the fun stuff, enjoying it all, the process. When your life is filled with more intentional enjoyment, you will get better at life. And it will become an act of joy rather than being a slave to your life. People, I gotta go do this. I gotta go to class. I gotta go to work. I gotta go talk to this person. I gotta go to church. And your life is just a series of I gottas. That's not fun. That energy is like, you're like a servant in your own life to yourself. You're a slave to your schedule that you made, right? So the opposite is, today, I'm going to do these things. Yeah, I got to do this, but I'm going to have fun doing it, right? I got to mow the lawn, but I'm going to whistle my way to joy, whatever the case. When you start to shift your mind, this episode is all about how your sexual integrity will get easier to maintain. Things just start working out. Why? Because you're working out. So Benji and I unpack this in this episode. Please enjoy. This episode is sponsored by Joy and Satisfaction. We wanted to let you know that in your journey towards sexual integrity, you are meant to have fun. This is the crazy thing, is still to this day, you know, the goal of our movement and our people and people like us is to actually create heaven on earth. Like, we actually believe that that's possible. It's really hard if your only information is coming from the news or from curated content that says that we're all going to die. AI is going to kill us. There's going to be nuclear war. A lot of stuff is going to kill us. We're going to die many, many deaths, according to that. But according to something much higher than news that's just trying to get clicks, is the reality that humanity has never been in a position to be happier. We can choose happiness, like there's a buffet of happiness, right? But I'm going on this rant just because the goal is fulfillment, deep, lasting fulfillment, and a lot of people's process to get to fulfillment is suffering. That's their best proposal. It's like, I'm just going to suffer my way to joy. And it doesn't add up. And same thing goes with sexual integrity. If your goal is to have a radiant blessing, chances are not enjoying your life at all in the hopes that you don't screw everything up, right? Like, I'm just not going to ever look at my phone or talk to people. I'm just going to live in a cave so that I stop watching porn. That's not preparation for a fulfilling life. So we have to have fun along the way. You got to get real. You got to do some tough stuff, but you have to have fun. You have to remember to have fun. And for some reason, it's the most natural thing in the world when you're a kid. And then you have to remind yourself when you're older, oh, wait, this life is supposed to be fun. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, when do you get too intense? Who's your reminder that life is supposed to be fun? Do you have somebody in your life that you look at and you're like, oh yeah, I'm supposed to do that?
All my kids, all three of them. Yeah. Look at them. Even Hitoe, my wife, like she's a pretty straight-laced Japanese woman, but she's pretty chill. Like she doesn't think too much about the future or the past, or, you know, like I tend to overanalyze stuff a bit. And then if I need to just chill, like after doing some work, I just go downstairs and just be with the family. And then I'm like, man, why was I so like stressed out about that thing just a second?
Why was I just swearing at a spreadsheet? What's that?
Yeah, it happens all the time. Like every day, I just look at them like what am I doing? Like this is This is what it's
I
about.
can hear them having fun in the background, by the
Oh
way.
yeah, yeah. They're taking a bath at the moment. Yeah, and I love this conversation, Andrew. It's like a it's a personal struggle for me. Like you said, the road to fulfillment and true, genuine happiness has been fraught with a lot of stress and self-induced struggle, I would say. But my like personal, I mean, that's the reality. I
Mhm.
was just talking with a guy
Yeah.
today, who's really stressing about being a father, and he's a newborn dad, and
No, he's a dad with a newborn child.
yeah, well, he's a newborn
He's
dad. He's a born again
okay.
father. He's a born
Okay.
again father,
Okay.
and, or born a first father. And he was saying that he's making mistakes as a father, and then he's stressing about it. And I was like,
Mm.
brother, like, dude, those are two very different things. One is making mistakes, which you will do, and the
Yeah.
other one is how you respond to your setbacks and failures and your victories. Those are completely different things. And I reminded him that, like, if you're not enjoying it most of the time, then you're probably doing something wrong. And that's like a
Yeah.
personal motto that I have, and I've had since I was a teenager. Is
Yep.
everything I do, I look at it as if I'm not having an enjoyable time most of the time, like 60, 70% of the time, then I'm doing something wrong fundamentally. And
Mhm.
that has helped me a lot with, like, even things like exercise, right? And that's how we like
Yeah.
sexual integrity.
Yeah.
Everything
Yeah.
is consistent when we enjoy things. And people that
Yeah.
enjoy things tend to be more consistent in the long run and enjoy it. Yeah.
It's crazy. It's really, really crazy how much our life is optimized for just getting through the day. And then you're like, and then you're old. You're like, I wish I could have enjoyed the ride more. Well, this is your wake up call, everybody. Like,
Uh-huh.
if your primary objective is to just get through your days, you are not winning right now. You got to
Mhm.
stop and like enjoy the moments. And too many people are too serious, and that's often the cause for their stress, which is the reason why they want to escape, which is leads them right to porn. So this whole idea of like I've got like, obviously life is serious. This is a conversation sponsored by a very privileged, like, if you're in America, if you're in Europe, if you're in most countries, actually these days have the privilege of having Wi-Fi opportunities, right? um, but that's because of the merit of the age. There's a crazy fact that the like a homeless person in America has access to more sanitation than a king in the medieval times.
Mhm.
Like the richest people in the world were still dying in their 30s because they didn't know about washing their hands, right? And now you can go as a homeless person and have a shower, you get soap and all. Like, we're living in a time when we don't like lose children. Like, in our church we still do like the 100-day ceremony that came from Korea, which was just a celebration of my kids survived the first 100 days of life. Like, that was a thing because a lot of kids didn't, right?
Mhm.
So now we still do the kind of rituals, and it's nice, it's symbolic, but uh very little to do with that reality, right? So like, we're living in this world where you can pick up a phone. I was just laughing. I was showing my wife yesterday at dinner what a credit card machine used to look like in the 1980s, because I remember it. They're these big metal things. You have to give them your physical card. They put this paper down, and then it goes,
Uh-huh.
and then they took a carbon copy, and you always would worry, are you going to steal my signature? And like, traveling was such a pain in the butt. Money was so hard. Even in like 2001, I went to Paris, and I was like, how do you get money? You just carry all your cash in your pocket? That sounds like a terrible idea. I was like, no, get traveler's checks. These things that don't exist anymore because they're useless. You would pay money to get a check, a piece of paper that said you have money. So you'd give them, let's say, $500, say, and then you get a traveler's check that said this is worth $500, and then you go to France, and then you turn it into French money or whatever country you're in, francs, whatever, right? And now just a credit card or crypto. Just like, you just like scan somebody's face, and you give them you give them crypto into their metaverse face or whatever, right? So like, everything is set up for us to create the life that we want, and we're still stuck in the basement, you know, rearranging the moldy boxes, complaining about our lot in life. The door to the basement is open. There's like endless floors to go up, and we're really stuck in the basement. We really are. So many people are just like worried, afraid of esoteric things like some war far, far away. And it's like we could be building heaven. We could be actively building heaven every single day if we could just remember that it's an option.
Yeah. Yeah, and that war is sometimes happening more realistically in our own heads, in our own minds.
Mhm.
I mean, that brother I
Yeah.
was talking to today, I mean, God bless him. I was in tears talking to him because I 100% relate with just beating up myself because I'm a bad dad and I made a mistake and I did something unloving, right? I've been there. And so I told him, I was like, dude, like, you're going to make mistakes and you got to figure out a way to enjoy it. Raising kids it's like to your point, it's always been raising kids. It hasn't changed in the last 100 years, but for some reason we make it hard because raising kids is actually not that difficult.
Hey, just a quick intermission to let you know that High Noon has a program just for single people that want to prepare well for marriage. So if you happen to be one of those single people that wants to be a stellar, fantastic, amazing, marriageable man or woman, then check out the core program, which you can find at highnoon.org. It is just for single folks like you who want to get ready for marriage and be ready for marriage. So join that at highnoon.org and we will see you in the core program.
There's a few things you need and require in life. And the supplemental baggage and struggling is our own self-induced doing because we are telling ourselves the things about ourselves, like I'm failing, I'm a bad dad. And we're like projecting our fears and insecurities onto them and their future and all that. And the same goes with marriage too. It's like marriage has been around for longer than the internet, right? Let's say that. So to say, like marriage is
Just
too
barely.
difficult. Yeah, it's like it's too difficult, it's hard, and parenting is expensive and all this stuff. It's all just self-created stuff in our minds. But I think it takes someone wise to be able to see that and be like, man, I'm making it difficult. I'm making my life more suffering than it needs to be. And actually this life thing is quite simple.
dude.
Maybe not easy. I wouldn't say it's easy, but it's simple. And figuring it out doesn't have to be like we're dragging ourselves through hell. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's unbelievable. And it's honestly speaking, so much of it is just if you removed social media from your life and any like television kind of stuff, like arts and entertainment, and you curated just meaningful stuff that helped you to enjoy the beauty of life, you would probably enjoy your life a million times more. It's like we interject joy and happiness. Like we stop it and say, wait, you go over there. I've got to watch some useless stuff that'll make me feel insecure about myself and compare myself to that person who's richer than me, or why can their wife do handstands and my wife can't? And then now like, where did this come from? What are you talking about? Why don't you just be happy? And the simplest people are the happiest, We went to the mall. So Mongolia is getting super fancy. Like last night, I have a nephew who we got to see. And last time we saw him, he was way smaller. And now he's taller than me. It's depressing. But it was his last night here. So I said, what do you want to eat? And he said, hamburger. So we went to a hamburger restaurant in Mongolia. First of all, amazing. Second of all, last time we were hanging out, we went to this fancy mall. They have a really fancy mall here. And there was a group of about 15 Buddhist monks in full wardrobe, sitting in the cafeteria area, just having the time of their life in a mall, taking pictures of everybody. They have cell phones, apparently. But just really living a super simple life. And, middle-aged men, all of them were bald, couldn't tell if it was a religious thing or they were just old, right? But laughing their butts off, looking around with wonderment, like, look at this weird world that we're in, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, you have to remember those people. You have to remember that janitor that we've all met in different parts of the world in some building where everybody else going to their fancy jobs or look like they're dying, and then the janitor's just whistling, be like, "Have a great day," and then even you can see people who are so much in that world that people look at them with disgust and pity. It's like, oh, why is that guy so happy? Right? Because they are actually happy and the rest of us are like dead on the inside. So happiness is quite like, and happiness is such a cheap word because people chase it. But I'm talking about the stuff that's already in you, just remembering it. It's like remembering your native language is joy and fulfillment. It's looking at a little kid. They don't need anything. We live in this apartment. I was looking out into another apartment and I saw this little kid running around, just rolling around, having the time of their life. Their parent was just so tired and couldn't move. And they were just rolling around. And I remember, oh yeah, that rolling age is so cute because kids just roll around and have the time of their life, It's very precious. So I think that humanity's given naturally imagination and all that till about 12, 13. And then after that, you actually have to decide whether you want it or not. You have to work it out. Meaning like if I watch my kids all the time and I'm sure you see them too. I don't know if boys are different than girls. All I know is boys. But if you leave them alone for a few minutes and you kind of spy on them, they start automatically talking to themselves. They start going into this imagination land and they're just lost in that world. And it's exactly like Peter Pan. And then you get to a certain age, it starts to fade and yet your life is filled with all this practical stuff. And then when you're older and you have more time, it seems like you're invited back to that if you want. And if you're healthy, then you become a more joyful, just simple person who laughs a lot. Like healthy grandparents to me are the ones that just laugh at everything.
Yeah.
They're just like up for it. They're game to play and to like do fun stuff, tell jokes, whatever, because they're just more relaxed, right? So it's like you start and end like that. And then in the middle, I just heard some statistics, like the most stressed out humans is between 22 and like 40, something like that, which is where you start to take on all this responsibility. And then later you start to enjoy life more, which is the saddest thing in the world, because that age between 22 and 40 is when you're having kids and should be enjoying life the most. But it's like you're zoned out and you're feeling the pressure and you're trying to be so serious when you should be having the most fun. Your kids need you to have fun and you need you to have fun.
Yeah.
The world needs you to have fun. And so, yeah, like let's say you high school, let's say you're like 19, right? You got to make all these life decisions. You got to figure out what you're going to do for the rest of your life, right? That stress of having to figure it all out will prevent you from figuring it all out. Mm-hmm. And it'll make you want to escape life and use your imagination to destroy yourself through porn, masturbation, all this stuff. Yeah. Rather than enjoying life and using your imagination to picture how life could be and living that life.
Yeah, it's a good question that I think people will come up with is why should I try to enjoy life? Like the things that I don't like doing, work, school, working on sexual integrity, exercise, my health. Why even bother? And I think you nailed it in that you will actually have more tendencies for self-destructive behavior if you don't enjoy it, right? Because the gym analogy is the one most people can relate with, or health in general. If you hate going to the gym, you're probably not going to do it long term. And you're probably going to self-sabotage by like binging a bunch of, unhealthy food over the weekend, or just giving up entirely on exercise because you say, okay, I hate exercise, therefore it's not for me. And then you just never do it, right? Which a lot of people do. Sure. And the same with sexual integrity. It's like, how can you make, the act of not watching porn or masturbating, right, something that's enjoyable? How can you make it something that's fun? It's a really important, super critical question that people answer, because then you'll have success, but also importantly, you won't self-sabotage when you do make mistakes, which we do, And so fundamentally, people that don't prioritize enjoying something will tend to go down pretty dark paths pretty quickly and then get into the shame cycle. And that's when the shame cycle kicks in, because it's like, well, I already failed and I'm not doing good, and therefore I'm a failure and all these thoughts. And then you feel, and then you act with the behavior of isolating more and going back to the same behavior that got you there in the first place, and just goes on and on. And so, especially people struggling with porn, masturbation, sexual fantasy, just figuring out how to use your sex drive in a healthy way, I would probably recommend first and foremost just figuring out where you want to direct your sex drive instead of trying to stop a behavior, trying to start a behavior, a new behavior. Because if you're just trying to stop a behavior, then of course that's not enjoyable. Like, nobody wants to do that. But if you replace your metaphorical diet with something that is healthy and good, like food that's delicious and good for you, it's not that hard to find. And so you can find replacements for whatever kick or benefit porn, masturbation is getting you, and replace it with something that is good for you, but also you enjoy. That's like that's the secret weapon right there. And I think the people that succeed the most with any endeavor in life, they just find a way to enjoy it. Like, look at really super fit guys or gals, for example. They're like that because they enjoy it. There's something about them that just loves the process of progressive overload, hitting the gym, getting the pump, working on the diet, investing in themselves, and they're not out here suffering most of the time. They're probably enjoying it.
Yeah. So the idea of, well, what do you do? If not this, then what? That to me is we haven't sufficiently given people cause to transition from what they know to something new. And here's the thing. It's the act of pouring yourself into something that's the only way that you can truly find deep, lasting joy at the level of impact, right? So like, you can't make something impactful unless you give yourself to it and it reflects you. So like, with all this AI, digital art and all that, it's like, it was impressive at first, and now there's just a flood of it. And now the real magic is, in this world of AI and technology and all that, like, where's the soul in it? The soul is only in the things that really wow you, that lure you in life, are the things that have that magic in it. And the only way that you can infuse something with your magic is to give yourself to it. So for instance, playing a song, like when you go see live music, like to see somebody technically proficient, somebody who's like good at an instrument, will be impressive on some level, but it won't move you. It's when somebody really emotes through music, like they create emotion by transmuting their emotion into music and then giving it to you. That's what like keeps you coming back. That's when you're moved to a magical place. And it's the same in arts, but it's also the same in anything. It's the same with your kids. It's the same with your wife, right? What moves people is when you really pour yourself into the process. And Uncle Dave does that all the time with his business, right? So it can be very practical. It's just if you go half in, then you don't get almost any results. It's like, it requires all of you. The thing, just like kids, you can't be half paying attention to them. They won't be satisfied, right? You know this. They, like, my kids used to grab my face and look at me and like, this is what I need to tell you, the kind of thing. It's like, oh, yeah, I needed that. I wasn't paying attention, right? So, yeah, life, you have to figure out something that you can give your full attention to. And it doesn't have to be one thing forever. In the past, I feel like there's a lot of pressure to find your one thing. And now, in this present reality, there's no need. It's really important to be interested in a lot of things and to give your full self at different times to different things. So if you're a student, one of the best things you can do, if you choose to be a student, is to give yourself to that process of becoming the best student, not for the sake of being a student, but for the sake of like getting fulfillment from the role of being a student. Like learning the crap out of something so that it's so familiar, like, oh, I got this. I know this. Instead of just, stuffing your head with things that you're going to forget, you steep yourself in the process of knowledge. And then all of a sudden that feeling like, oh, I really know this is such a good feeling. When somebody talks to you and you have something really important to say based on your familiarity with a topic, it's such a great thing. Like us with this, We can make endless content because we're so steeped in this world. It's such a great feeling. It's familiar. When somebody comes to me with their problem, I typically have heard something similar and I've thought a lot about it. I've read about it, I've learned about it, and I have something to say typically. And it's a nice feeling
Yeah.
instead of being like, man, sounds terrible. Good luck. You know, that's not a good feeling.
It's a bad doctor.
Yeah.
ER and
Wow, you're really
ER.
screwed up, man.
Yeah.
You
Go to
better,
urgent care.
yeah.
Yeah, man. Go all in on something. I think there's something that really excites people when they hear like the idea of going all in. Just going all in something. And the key that you mentioned is that it doesn't have to be grand, spectacular. It doesn't have to be. It can be super simple. There was a period of time that I was painting my house, and I remember this because it was like a week, and I was so happy every day just to paint my house. And I was like, how can I do this every day the rest of my life? Just paint my house. You know?
Well, I think that's pretty
And
easy,
so
Benji.
sometimes it's
You just
about, yeah, Chris is like obsessive house painting, some OCD going on. But it's about, like, for me at least, it's about creating new things, new projects all the time. Because one project finishes, or I lose interest or in the thing, and then I do another thing. Right now it's music, right? I have this ChatGPT role and thread about music theory, because I was like, I want to learn 99% of everything there is to know about music theory, like in the 1 percentile of information. And I said, just curate everything there is to know about music theory, not history, not bands. I just want to know, like, what is music? How is it composed? How was it developed? Like, how did we create music, and who decided the rules of how music works? Like all this stuff. And then ChatGPT gave me like a dissertation on like a lengthy, almost book-sized, thread on everything about music. And it took me, I don't know, 30 minutes to read it and like really digest it. And I didn't memorize everything, but I read that and I was like, wow, I know a lot more about music than I did before. And I feel like that's also the merit of the age, is that we're entering a time very soon that we'll be able to essentially download information into our brains instantly. Like that age is coming, right? And so they're already doing this with like Neuralink and learning how to store people's memories and information in data. And so imagine how useful it will be when we can just say, I want to know all this, just download it instantly. And so to me, AI right now is the closest thing we're having to being able to curate information, relevant information, exactly the way we want to know it, and then digest it in like an easy to understand format. And that's like super cool to me. And so that's like the rabbit hole I'm going down. And so I have different things I'm learning about music theory. I have another thread about world culture and world languages. It's like I want to know everything about languages, like all the languages. There's over 7,000 languages in the world, right? And there's only 195 countries. And I was like, how does that make sense? And it's just so fascinating to me. And so finding stuff to just go all in about, I feel like that's the creative energy of sexuality, is this desire to conquer, to create, to invest, to serve, right? To serve people, to help people. And when I, like you, Andrew, have this chance to like help people and to mentor people, it's like it brings together my like purpose. And I feel like my energy or my drive is used for a healthy outlet,
Yeah. Yeah. It's a wonderful thing that requires some effort, obviously, but when you get lost in it, the effort stops feeling like effort, and it's just you get wrapped up in it. You get enveloped into the process of learning or doing, right? So finding your thing, like you said, like painting, it's true. I was either going to get into something like this, right? Either the arts or communication like this in terms of like my vocation, or just do something like painting, because I would do that a lot, when I was of the job faring age. I would always prefer to do jobs where you don't have to think, so that I could let my mind wander, because you get lost in the act. And that's what flow state is. Flow state is when you're not thinking, you're just doing. You are lost in the act. But that requires you to be technically proficient and also artistically untied, like free. so that you're not thinking about the art and you're just like letting loose, but you have enough technical skill to do it. So with drawing, for instance, when you start drawing, you're really worried about how to draw. It's really hard, but then you start getting good. You stop thinking so much and you have an idea in your mind and you start drawing. It just feels so nice. You can draw. I remember in high school, I would take these huge pieces of paper. I got like a roll of paper, let's talk like 2 feet wide and then just endless rolls of it. And I'd cut out different strips depending on how eager I was. Let's say like 4 feet long, 2 feet wide. And I'd tape it to my wall and I would get oil pastels and I would just listen to my favorite music and time would absolutely disappear. And I'd blink and it was 3 hours later and I'd look and sometimes the art was beautiful, sometimes it wasn't, but I felt so good, right? And so like getting lost and stuff, that's the imagination part that we forget. And Einstein was really big on this. He's like, more important than the technical was the imagination, because all the technical stuff, if we just do technical stuff, we'll just kill ourselves. The imagination is, what do we do with this technical stuff? And so, yeah, in terms of your sexual integrity, guys and gals, in terms of life in general, we always want to run away from life when we feel choked by life. And we always feel choked by life when we're not enjoying it. And we always stop enjoying life when we're not focused on how to enjoy life. And that becomes a conscious effort as we get older for most of us. Some people are wired to just be grateful and to laugh all day. And maybe, there's some conditioning there, but we can absolutely choose to condition ourselves to enjoy life more. And the more that you do, the more that things work out. People want to be around you more when you are in that state. They're like, wow, it was so nice hanging out with you. They'll say stuff like that. Wow, yeah, you're so funny. You're so cool, whatever. You'll hear this more. And it's not about your ego. It's just about you're reflecting that feeling that we all want when you start focusing on it and providing it for your environment. And at the end of a day, you'll be like, wow, that just feels like a good day. And that's what the North Star goal is supposed to be, is like having more of those days. And most of it is just our attitude and what we're focused on. And so if you want to focus on enjoyment and having an attitude of like, let's make this fun, let's make this enjoyable, then guess what? You'll get better at it. And you'll start enjoying the repetitions more. So things like you mentioned like working out. Most people are like, yeah, I gotta work out. I gotta stay fit. I gotta stay young. I gotta stay mobile. I gotta go to the gym. And then they hate going to the gym. Why do you have to go to the gym? You could go climb a mountain. You can go ride a bicycle. You can climb a tree, for God's sake. Climbing trees is probably really good exercise. I used to do that a lot when I lived in California because they had good trees to climb. It could look like anything you want. You could play soccer. You could walk. You could, I don't know, surf. You could jump out of an airplane like Tom Cruise.
Sit on a yoga ball. Sit on a yoga ball while you work all day.
Yeah.
That type of stuff.
A billion trillion things.
Yeah, I mean, people will
using your imagination.
People do argue like, oh, this exercise is better, right? But it's like any exercise is better than nothing. And we're not talking about exercise. We're talking about learning to enjoy stuff. And so it's like, for example, I really hate deadlifts, even though I know it's the best compound movement there is, but I hate it. I just don't enjoy it. So I don't do deadlifts, period. And so that's
but lifting your kid in a
stuff
similar way is the same. Like you lift your kids. And if you just did that, you can get the same results with a different process is all I'm saying, right? You could lift old ladies and carry them across the street in the deadlift form. Do whatever you want.
Yep, you could do that. Yeah, I think with sexual integrity, I think it's harder for people to understand how to enjoy it because most people are focused on the wrong achievement, like the wrong goal, the wrong why. And it's easy to focus on streaks. And I think we don't talk about this enough, honestly. It's easy to focus on sobriety as the goal because that seems to be the most important metric, but it can't be, because does it mean that you are thriving? that you're happy, that you're enjoying life, that you are healing whatever, wound or experience you're running or emotion you're running away from in the first place if you're just abstaining. And so that's why, like, that's one of the first questions I will try to gauge for someone I'm mentoring in Ascend, for example, is like, what are you tracking? What does success mean to you? And if it's just only sobriety, is what I'm saying, then it's going to be really hard to make that enjoyable, period. Like, because you're only saying no to something and you're only trying to figure out how to create an environment in which it's harder to engage in a behavior. And if you do that, there's pretty much zero chance you're going to enjoy it long term. Maybe for a little bit, maybe after like 30 days, you're like, I got 30 days, great. I got 300 days, great. I got 3,000 days. So like, okay, now we're getting a little too focused on the numbers. And maybe there's something more deep and important that we need to focus our attention on that is going to result in sobriety as the byproduct.
Yeah, I think compounded days of enjoyment and fulfillment is a much better metric because it will lead to more days sober, right? So like that one day, the North Star goal is about having that one day. When you have more of those one days where everything just feels right, even if they go well or not, you just react to life intentionally and from a strong place, the sober days will come for sure. Yeah, and like honestly speaking, when you start looking at gratitude and what it really is, it's this magical thing that provides you with endless opportunities to just look at life and say thank you for the fact that you're listening to this podcast, the fact that you're waking up. When you can start to pay attention to the little things and enjoy them genuinely, not like in your head, but like in your heart, you breathe it in, you're like, wow, I'm alive, right? Then everything becomes more enjoyable, right? And then when you are truly enjoying something, it's even more enjoyable than it normally would be because you're not tethered. You're in a really good spot. So it's an attitude thing and it's a focus thing. And so yeah, it's like a gimme when you're a little kid. I can see it happening so much, and this is the hard part. This is why I probably can't watch Toy Story 3 anymore. Some of these movies, because that's all about kids losing that magic, and my kids are really kind of in that place where I can start to see it fade in and out. But the beautiful thing is that that's God's gift to us to just be pure for a period of time, to have imagination very naturally occurring. And then after that, then we got to work for it. It's just like a newly married couple. You get the in love feelings in the beginning, and then you got to work for them later. And that's beautiful. Actually, it means that's our 5% is we gotta participate. But with your sexual integrity, let's just say fulfillment is optional, depending on what you're focusing on, depending on your attitude. If you can really be grateful that high noon exists, Benji, I think you just said this, but we've heard it a billion times. Is older people coming up to us and said, "I wish high noon was around when I was younger." Right? Mm-hmm. I wish I didn't just waste most of my marriage, and like I wish I could have been a better parent. This is your opportunity to like do that now, regardless of your age. Even if you are older, you're in your retirement years. Well, it's here now, so you don't have to like spend your golden years in regret. Like it's here.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think people can change much faster. I know people can grow and heal and change and much faster than we believe. We say time heals all, but that's generally a farce because time doesn't automatically do anything, because plenty of old people have not healed and plenty of young people have healed a ton. And so it must be more than just time, is what I'm saying. What are you doing with that time? Because time can create the opportunities for us to focus in the right ways. And so if you're young, it's like, great, you've got time and effort and energy. If you're older, great, because it's not time that you need. It's not more time. It's just more of a willingness to change, a will to change, and making the effort and getting clear and probably having a community. And that's something we haven't talked about, is how much enjoyable life is when you have people in this process with you that are just like climbing this mountain together, and it's just a good old time. Like going camping by yourself versus going with your bros. I mean, like it's kind of a different experience, you know?
Serves a different purpose. But yeah, that's
Yes,
the
it
Divine
does.
Principle 101 lecture, which is like, the best singer in the world, if they're left on an island by themselves, they don't find enjoyment in singing nearly as much because there's nobody to kind of sing to. And so it's our life. Our life is a song, kind of, right? And so we do want to, those moments where you laugh so hard that you cried. When was the last time you did that? Really laugh so hard that you were out
Mr.
of
Bean.
control.
Mr. Bean with my son, watching Mr. Bean with my son. Yeah.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought you were just having a moment. You're just saying Mr. Bean's name out loud.
Mr. Bean just walked into my room. No, it was this year. I was watching. We went to London for a high noon workshop. I brought my son Kojin, and we had jet lag. So I was like, "What do you want to watch?" And he was like, "Mr. Bean," because London. And like the original first episodes we were just laughing, and our ribs are just hurting and itching because we were laughing so hard. It was great.
Classic. Yeah. It's unbelievable how much we miss out on life. So anyway, I think we've taken this bicycle of an idea and we've wrote it. We used it, and now we are tired, and so we're gonna park it. And that was a very sloppy metaphor. So if you want to enjoy life, it's on you. It could be the act of enjoying what might not be enjoyable on its face, like your job, right? If you have some job or something in your life that you have to do but you don't enjoy it, that's an attitude thing. Changing your attitude. But then also the other aspect is doing more things that you enjoy to allow yourself to be that are productive, right? If what you enjoy doing is eating ice cream, proceed with caution.
Yeah.
Try to find
Yeah.
things that
That's like short-term enjoyment for long-term pain.
Sure. But those moments too, where like it's summertime, I indulge in ice cream every now and again with my family because it's like a summertime staple, right? But regardless, the point is to find time to do enjoyable things as well, right? So to get outside. This week has been a very inside week for me, and I find way less enjoyment in life when I'm sitting in front of a computer. So I have to remember, oh man, I got to go outside and go live life. And so two sides is your homework, everybody. You have the side of finding enjoyment in the things that you are doing and have to do, the routine things, the eating, the sleeping, the family, all that stuff, finding enjoyment in the mundane. And the other aspect is finding ways to do enjoyable things will increase and enhance your enjoyment of the other things that you have to do. And then what you're doing is you're creating this circuit loop of enjoyment where you're looking for enjoyment in the mundane and you're looking to create enjoyment in your spare time. Life just gets more enjoyable, everybody, for lack of a better word. Mm-hmm. And that's what we want. And the result will be it's a lot easier to resist self-destruction when you actually enjoy life. Hard stop.
Ajum,
yeah.
Let's have fun.
So everybody, go enjoy your life. You silly folks. We shouldn't need reminders, but we do. So now this is your reminder. Consider this from Dr. Uyama and Professor Love Pants. Just enjoy your life and everything else will get easier. Okay?
Hey, did you know that our team wants to do more events? Well, if you want to bring the High Noon message to your community or group, then let us know and we'll try to work something out. There's a simple application that you can fill out right now at highnoon.org/invite, and one of our team members will get back to you to see what's possible. That's highnoon.org/invite. All right, see you in the next episode.